Hi, I'm Jessica Aldridge, and this is Eco Burbank. Today we have special guest Burbank resident Kurt Balish and his Drought Tolerant yard. Hi, Kurt. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So why? Why did you get rid of your yard? What's going on?
Well, we'd done some remodeling this last year, and we had the water turned off for a while, so the grass looked pretty bad when we finished the remodeling. So we thought, do we put back grass? Do we put back the landscaping that was here? There was a lot of roses, etc., a lot of water-intensive plants. And we decided, at least on our parkway in the front, because we have 1,000 square feet of parkway, that maybe we'd try some drought-tolerant stuff, and also something with a lot of mulch that would catch a lot of the rainwater, etc., act like a catch basin. And then my wife was a little skeptical, but she actually finally agreed to do the same kind of landscaping to the whole front yard.
How does it conserve water? I mean, you were talking about the mulch, the water, water harvesting, the French drain. Explain that a little bit further.
Well, I guess there's three key elements. First, use the drought-tolerant plants. They're not necessarily native. A lot of these are from Texas, Arizona, Mexico. The trees are from Brazil, I believe. So we're using drought-tolerant, not drought-proof. They need some water. We're on a little bit of a slope, so we had to use a gravel mulch, but the mulch keeps the soil cooler, keeps the weeds down, keeps the moisture in the ground. And then the third key is to have a efficient watering system.
How do you water? Is it, you said a bubbler? Is it a sprinkle system?
Yeah, maybe let's go down over here. I can show you. It's basically so rather than sprinklers, there's still a watering system, but it comes to like a little star outlet right here with tubes that go off. And then, for example, here's one right here. So this just bubbles out. It just sprays for about 2 or 3 inches out when it's turned on. So it only waters just about 10 inches around there. So it's not spraying out onto the sidewalk and out onto the street. In fact, one sign of success is that we have more people parking in front of our yard now because they're not getting the water spots that they used to. So
These plants are beautiful.
Yeah,
They're gorgeous. It
shows
not.
that you can go drought tolerant and you can really still have an attractive, lush garden, I think, yeah.
And how did you go about choosing the specific plants that are in this yard?
Well, there's a lot of common ones. Like at first we were looking at succulents and stuff like that, and we kind of realized you can't really fill much space with succulents. So a lot of these are pretty common. Like you see the Mexican salvia, the Mexican sage. This is actually two. The bigger ones are Mexican, the smaller ones are a similar variety, Santa Barbara. And so they're going to give you a lot of, space and volume. So most of this stuff is a type of sage. When you go to most nurseries, you find the Mexican sage or salvia, but you can't find a lot of these other varieties very easy, like the red sage over there and the Santa Barbara and this one right here, this aroma sage. It's related to Cleveland sage.
This one here?
Uh-huh.
The really beautiful purple one?
These are not easy to come by. So you can find some of it, but you need someone who is really experienced and knows where to get the plants.
Do you have to use gravel as mulch?
No, you don't have to use gravel as a mulch. Like I was saying earlier, we use gravel basically because we're on an incline. So when it rains, if we had bark or wood chips, which we had tried before, literally when the rains come, all of your mulch washes away. Whatever mulch you use, it's going to contribute to a term called water harvesting. And water harvesting, if you go to a lot of cities in southern Arizona and New Mexico and stuff, they use this term water harvesting because it's like they see any landscape as an opportunity to capture rainwater because there's so little rainwater. And also just sprinkler water. They don't want to waste any sprinkler water. So they encourage owners to use a lot of techniques like the mulch, but also little berms where you just kind of slow the water down before it hits the street and hits the storm drains. There's a term French drain, which I'm not exactly sure, but it's basically like a gravel drain where you, in some places here, we dug a little bit of a trench underneath so the gravel's maybe a little bit thicker. So when the water does run off, it kind of hits that little trench and just slows it down a little bit. But I'm hoping this landscaping is just going to slow the water down. Anything that rolls off into the parkway, I hope will be captured there. And my hope is that nothing will actually make it to the street. And start with the parkway. Like I said, one of the things that kind of got us into this when we realized we had 1,000 feet of parkway that we were mowing and fertilizing and watering, etc. And we started thinking about what can we just get the parkway down so we don't have to spend a lot of money to maintain it, etc. And I think there's something like close to 100 acres of parkway in a city like Burbank. So if you add it all up, that's a potential water collection, water harvesting thing, like a 50 or 100 acre park or something.
So you have this yard, this
Right.
gorgeous,
Thank you.
beautiful,
Thank you.
drought-tolerant yard.
Glad you liked it.
Have you seen any unforeseen benefits, any issues that have come along with it?
Well, there's less work, obviously. There is less maintenance. There's less water, but it's almost like the wildlife in the neighborhood responded almost literally the day some of the plants went in. Like hummingbirds showed up, and we see a lot of butterflies you don't normally see, and different types of bees. And they don't bother you. We haven't any problem with the bees, but they love the place. And lizards, although don't tell my wife, she doesn't like the idea of lizards around here. But and I've seen just a lot of birds that have just haven't seen before. So it's almost like native birds have noticed that this is not necessarily native plants, but it's their type of buffet. Nature's kind of showed up, and we enjoy them. It's great. It's great.
Well, I think you were telling me about hummingbirds earlier, because I know that you have the feeder over here.
Yeah, we try to feed her over there because they love the sage when that went in and some of this kangaroo paw, and they've ignored the feeder. The plants are too interesting. People have been positive. They've been picking our brains. They realize you don't have to do exactly what we've done here. There's a lot of different ways you can get, different plants and mulch and save water.
Yeah, I noticed when we were coming up here, there's a lot of drought-tolerant yards in the neighborhoods around here. Are you seeing an increase in that as well?
Yeah, especially, yes, parkways and front yards. People are realizing, why do we need all that grass, all the roses, et cetera. It's not that you can't have that, but you should zone and have your roses and your grass in some place that you're going to enjoy, and you're going to water that differently. So all the drought-tolerant stuff is in one area. The maintenance is a lot less. And in general, what I like about it, if you have grass, you've got to mow the lawn every weekend or so. If you let the thatch get too thick, it ruins your grass. The nice thing about this is that if I don't get to something some weekend, I can still do it the next weekend. It's not as timely maybe as some other maintenance gardening issues. But key, if you put in some mulch, you've got to get this landscaping cloth here. You can get this at Home Depot. You can get this at all. This is pretty common. But this has got to go down first because that cuts down on your weeding. Because otherwise, see, you're creating this wonderfully cool, moist soil, which the weeds are going to love too. So if you don't put this down, then you are going to have a lot of work. And then you cover that with whatever mulch you're using. And then we haven't gone through a whole season yet. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm told, is I'm going to have to chop these down about 8-10 inches, whatever, in the fall, and then allow for new summer growth next year. So that's about it. It's just a little bit of weeding. You still have the leaves from the trees that you've got to rake up, etc. sometimes, and that's about it.
Well, this has definitely been very informative. Thank you for talking with us and sharing your yard with us today.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope everyone tries something like this.
I do too. If you at home would like more information, Burbank Water and Power actually offers free landscaping classes. You can give them a call. Their conservation department, 818-238-3730, and you can get more details on that. Thank you for joining us today. I am Jessica Aldridge, and you have been watching Eco Burbank.